People are using ChatGPT instead of lawyers, and here's where it's going wrong. But first, if you're new to my channel, my name is Tracy, aka the Legal Queen on social media, and I have been a practicing family law solicitor now for over 20 years, practicing in England and Wales. So let's look at, is AI actually going to replace lawyers, or has it replaced lawyers already? Firstly, it's important to look at what AI can do. In my opinion, it's a really handy tool. It's actually saving people lots and lots of money, because the straightforward Q&A that you might have originally asked your solicitor, you can now get those answers on AI. And that might be, where is my nearest family court? What does this application do? What form do I need to download from the website in order to make an application for a child arrangements order? It will help you do really simple agreements. It will even help you draft a divorce petition. So from that point of view, I do actually think it's worthy people using AI. The other great thing about AI is that it does simplify the legal jargon. If you're not familiar with legal terminology, or perhaps you're trying to read some case law or some statute or some legal papers that you're not familiar with, you're able to put that into AI and have it break it all down for you and explain it in common terms. And that can only be a good thing. A lot of times, what we go to solicitors for is for advice. But what can often happen is that we end up speaking to the solicitor to have them answer those simple Q&As. We go to them oftentimes for direction as to how we do something or where we do something in terms of making court applications. I've been asked over the years how much a court application is. And of course, any time a solicitor spends talking with you is going to be chargeable. So in order to get a real basic understanding of perhaps your legal position, maybe even your rights, understanding the law a little bit better, which application that you can make, and even help you drafting those simple agreements and documents, sometimes a letter to your opponent, then I'm all for AI. The one thing, however, that AI can't do for you is provide you with a strategy. Because the downside to AI is that it doesn't understand the complexities of human emotion. Family law, which is the area that I practice, is all about emotion. It's all about nuances. It's all about looking at what our opponent is doing rather than what they're saying. It's looking about what they're saying rather than what they're putting down on paper. It's reading body language in a courtroom. It's understanding their weaknesses and their strengths. Sadly, AI is not going to be able to do that, but it is a really good starting point. So let me do a bit of a deeper dive and give you an example. Let's take two families that are making an application to the court for child arrangements. Circumstances are pretty similar, children are of the same age, but one of the parties has an ex who is very controlling. That's going to be a real difficult situation for AI to identify, particularly if the parent who is being controlled doesn't recognise that they're being controlled. Because AI is only going to answer the questions and information, more importantly, that you give it. As a practicing family law solicitor, a lot of times when I'm interviewing my clients and taking their instructions, I'm acutely aware of what they're not saying. I can see from their eyes, from the tone in their voice, that there might be a fear. There might be a hesitation to let something else go. I can see that because I'm sitting opposite the table from them and I recognise and read emotions, as most humans do. AI is going to miss that completely, which could be really damning for your case. The other thing that AI can't do is recognise the financial control that can sometimes happen when we're sorting out the finances following a divorce. Where we have an ex that is deliberately hiding assets, and we're able to see that by going through our client's bank statements or asking our client, how was that holiday paid for? How is the mortgage being paid for? I'm not seeing that on the bank statements. But what exactly is your ex earning? Because what's being paid into the bank account isn't marrying up with their pay slips. It's something else that AI just isn't going to pick up upon. That's the key part. If you're not giving it all the information or the correct information, you're never going to get the correct advice, suggestions or guidance back from AI. Before we move on, guys, if you're enjoying this video and haven't yet liked and subscribed, then please do so. I don't need to tell you that the more likes and subscribes we get, the more videos we can make and the more education we can provide. The other thing that worries me sometimes about AI is that it won't know if it's wrong. So what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes AI has given my clients some outdated answers where actually a new case has maybe just been handed down and AI hasn't quite caught up with that yet. So it's making references to older law. It also doesn't know what judges are deciding in the moment. You know, barristers and solicitors, we spend a lot of time in court speaking to people who are in court, particularly judges. So we're understanding what the flavours of this month are, what's topical in court, what the judges seem to be deciding, if they're in favour of more of a clean break order. A lot of times the advice that we're giving our client is because we are acutely aware of what the judge's tendencies are. So at the moment, I can tell you that in England and Wales, judges are favouring clean break orders. They're really keen to have parties sever all their financial ties and don't really want lingering clauses in financial orders. Of course, they'll put them in if they need to, but their preference is to have the order finalise all the finances between a married couple. Now, AI is not going to pick up on that because it's not in court. And more importantly, it's not talking to barristers and solicitors on a daily basis like we are. The other thing that AI does, which really worries me, is that it can oversimplify the legal information. A lot of times, the answers that AI is giving you around the law is absolutely spot on. But as lawyers, we are trained to understand the law and then apply the relevant parts of that law to our client's situation. What I have seen from my clients is that AI isn't doing that. It's really oversimplifying the process and almost applying a one-size-fits-all answer to the most unique and bespoke of problems. And that's the other thing. When a client has a legal issue, it will be very bespoke to them. Now, again, I'm talking heavily around family law because that's where I practice. But no two couples will be exactly the same. I can guarantee you that. No two families' needs will be exactly the same. There will always be a tiny little shift from 50-50 or a tiny reason as to actually why the children should live with mum and not with dad or vice versa. And that's something that AI is not going to fully appreciate, even if you tell it all of those details. I think for me, the most worrying is that when AI is wrong, it's wrong very confidently because it believes what it's telling you is 100% right. And of course, there is no accountability with AI. So if you're using the answers generated or the guidance and suggestions given to you by AI to run your case and it goes wrong, who do you hold accountable for that? Who can you go to for not just blame, but some sort of accountability? Now, if you had a solicitor, obviously you would hold them accountable. You would be able to perhaps ask for some of your fees back if they gave you wrong advice. In the most serious of cases, they may even be found negligent and, you could be suing them for the cost of whatever it was that you lost, half of your ex's pension or half of your, family home, whatever it might be. But with AI, you can't do that because unlike solicitors, AI won't cover professional indemnity insurance, which ultimately is protection for you. The other, probably most obvious downside for AI is that it's not going to represent you. It's not going to be with you and stand by your side at court. It's not going to talk to you when you're in court or even when you're negotiating with the other side and calm down your fears. It's not going to help you deal with an overly aggressive opponent. It's not going to write your letters for you, understanding the tone, the legal tone, more importantly, that the other side are writing to you with. A lot of times we're changing our strategy mid-case. That happens nearly in every case because evidence appears that we'd either forgotten we had or we knew that we had it but we couldn't find it and now we found it. So it could be that the other side's strategy has changed or my strategy has changed. AI is not going to pick up on that change of strategy mid-case. Law isn't just about knowing the rules. It's not just about knowing the law and how we apply the law. Strategy is a massive part of it. And it's about knowing how to play the game. Sometimes silence is more powerful in court than actually defending your position, particularly if your client has said something damning. It's always a good idea just to sit back and give a 3 or 4 second pause, just to let that sit in the air before you jump to your feet and defend your client's position. So let's look at why, in my view, this matters more in family law. Family law is a very emotive law. Throughout the process, whether you're in court or not in court, it's a very emotional roller coaster ride for those involved. You can be very down and sad one day at the realisation that your marriage or your relationship is over, to experience feelings of acute anger the next day when you receive a letter from your ex's solicitor telling you that the house must be placed on the market for sale, or that actually the children aren't going to be living with you after all because your ex is now making an application to the court. Those roller coaster of emotions can lead us down a very dangerous path, in my view. What do I mean by that? Well, you could react in that moment of high emotional state. When you're feeling down, you could throw the baby out with the bathwater, sign away all your rights to something because actually you just don't care anymore. Or in the heat of the moment when you've received that letter from your ex's solicitor, you could fire off a completely unwarranted response that one day could end up before the judge. When you have a solicitor who's assisting you and holding your hand, we're also the voice of reason. We're also there to be able to calm you down and go, okay, let's just take a breath. Let's just take a moment and look at this. In fact, let's take the weekend to think about it. Let's make them sweat a little. Let's play that game that I referred to earlier on. As solicitors, we know when to hold back, when to push forward, when to settle. And the reason that we know all of that is that we're picking up on not just the written word that's in the letter or what our opponent is saying to us across the courtroom, but we're looking at the emotion, we're looking at the strategy, we're looking at the unwritten word, we're identifying the weaknesses in our opponent's case. We're really understanding exactly what it is that our opponent is looking for and using that to negotiate a stronger position for our client. Sadly, AI can't do any of that for you. Again, it's super reliant, 100% reliant on the information that you give it. And if you're feeding it information when you're in a high emotional state, it will provide you with the reaction that you're looking for. It will tell you to maybe sign it all away and protect your mental health. Or don't be treated like that. Get that letter out to the other side. If that's how they've spoken to you, then you speak to them in the same tone back. And from a strategic point of view, that's always not going to win your case. The biggest area for me where AI falls down, again in family law, would have to be children's applications, because when we're dealing with children, family court isn't just looking at the rules, it's not looking at the applications that the parents have made and what each parent is asking for. It's looking 100% at what's in the best interest of the child. It's looking at what the child needs from both parents. It recognises that actually, whilst these parents are in a bitter dispute about who lives where and who gets what from the divorce, that the child has a right to have a relationship with both parents. More importantly, the child needs to have a relationship with both parents. Again, if you're feeding information into AI, it's going to be great at giving you the rules. It's going to be brilliant at giving you the law. It's going to draft an application for you like no other. But what it's not going to be able to do is understand your personal family dynamics. It's not going to be able to understand the needs of the child. You can tell it how old the child is, and you can tell it from your point of view what you think is in the child's best interest. But of course, that's just a very one-sided view. What solicitors and the family court can do is actually look at it from a broader spectrum. We have 1, 2, 3 children in this instance. What is it that they need? What kind of a relationship are they looking for with both parents? And we are able to take the rules as guidance, but we don't have to strictly adhere to them because we can adapt them, we can manipulate them. We can let the court know that whilst we're not sticking to the rules 100%, the reason for that is because actually to have more time with mum or dad is definitely what the children need. As a family lawyer myself, I have often used AI and will continue to do so, because the research tasks that used to take me an hour or 30 minutes now take me an instant, 60 seconds to 5 minutes to research something completely. Obviously, I have a wealth of family law knowledge already, so I'm able to identify any errors that AI might throw at me. But more importantly, if I'm able to limit or reduce my research time, then I've got more time to thinking about my client's case. I can develop a more sophisticated strategy for my client. It also means that my clients come to me more prepared. They know exactly what to expect. They're not paying me to answer those basic Q&As and then leave my office feeling a little bit deflated, because actually we spent the first hour of the consultation going through all the basics and the admin and the form filling and where the court is and how long it will take, that it didn't actually leave us any time to go through the formulas and the strategy that we were going to put towards their case. A lot of times back in the old days, clients would say to me, wow, I've just spent a few £100 and you've just told me admin details, how long the process is going to take. A lot of times now the clients are coming with that knowledge, which is a win-win. I do feel that the divide is coming. My honest opinion is that lawyers who embrace AI will 100% succeed. In fact, they'll thrive. The lawyers who refuse to embrace AI, who push back against it, in my view, will eventually fall behind. So in summary, what am I saying? Don't use AI, use AI. Look, I think AI is a really useful tool. I think the more that you can educate yourself, the better, the more powerful that you will be. But when it comes to decisions around your children, around your home, around your finances, important life-changing decisions, you must get the expertise. You must go and speak to a qualified solicitor. And that's why, in my view, AI won't replace lawyers. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I hope that you enjoyed that. And obviously, if you need some guidance from me, feel free to drop me an email. If you want to check out my website where I've got my courses available, perhaps you're not looking to instruct a solicitor and are looking to do a little bit more yourself, then you can visit my website at maloneyfamilylaw.com.